Hold on tight. You are sitting on the four pillars of the financial system of the future if you currently own XRP, XLM, XDC, or HBAR. The largest institutions in the world are quietly constructing the infrastructure that will make these tokens vital, while everyone else is chasing trend trades and dog coins. The worst part is still to come. To get in inexpensively, they don't inform you about it until it's too late. These aren't just arbitrary cryptocurrency selections. Institutions have hand-picked them to replace the sluggish, outdated system that has been in place for decades. So get a cup of coffee because I'm going to show you how these four digital assets are integrated into the financial future, who is in charge of the back end, and why the big switchover is occurring sooner than anyone has anticipated. Click the Crypto Talk subscribe button. You won't receive fascinating insider analyses from well-known YouTubers in the cryptocurrency space. Let's examine the institutional strategy that is changing the face of international finance. The majority of people don't comprehend this. In fact, there is a roadmap for this revolution in finance. Banks are abandoning SWIFT, that antiquated messaging dinosaur that has been in use since 1973. We are discussing a system that charges $25 and takes 25 days to settle payments, despite processing 45 million communications per day, 75 with every purchase. In a digital age, that is outdated technology. Digital settlement networks that are programmable, lightning fast, and interconnected. Moreover, can you determine which four names appear at every institutional meeting? XRP manages liquidity in real time. Magic. Cross-border micropayments are crushed by XLM. Enterprise trade finance is dominated by XDC. HBAR oversees military-grade compliance for public-private integration. By addressing distinct components of the same enormous challenge, they all remove friction. There are obstacles to transferring funds, obtaining liquidity, adhering to rules, and preserving transparency. Furthermore, they are discussing more than just fixes. They are executing enterprise integrations that are currently operational, delivering live infrastructure, and conducting active pilot programs. Here's what should get your attention, though. These tokens aren't being hyped by the mainstream media. Why? Because retail investors are not front-run by institutional money. Silently, they gather in the darkness. Non-disclosure agreements are signed by them. They use private regulatory sandboxes to test their technologies. They absolutely don't want you catching on till the early bird window has slammed shut. Consider Ripple. They're not creating a gaudy social media cryptocurrency brand. Ripplet, a fully regulated liquidity engine that connects directly to foreign exchange providers, payment highways, and central banks, is being built. Banks no longer need to keep billions of dollars in pre-funded accounts thanks to their innovative, on-demand liquidity technology. This type of cost-cutting is what keeps CFOs up at night staring at dollar signs. Stellar, meantime, isn't pursuing stardom on TikTok or Twitter. They have been silent, putting in place the financial infrastructure needed to enable interoperability between fiat and cryptocurrency in emerging regions. Instead of following the newest trends, they are collaborating with NOSs, development funds, and financial institutions that are addressing actual access issues. XDC is developing enterprise-grade trade finance in a whole new galaxy. They are integrating themselves into national government-backed regulatory programs and trade trusts. This has nothing to do with meme culture or digital art. The goal is to replace the outdated infrastructure of the decade, which is stifling $19 trillion in international trade flows, by tokenizing invoices, bills of lading, and letters of credit. The secret weapon that has already crossed the finish line is HBAR. With a governing council full of top banks and companies in the globe, as well as practical applications ranging from retail payment systems to carbon markets, HEDA's distributed ledger technology is designed to work with digital currency infrastructure from central banks. Proof-of-concept trials are no longer being conducted. Production-grade solutions are being used in real-world settings. Do you still believe this to be another cycle of cryptocurrency hype? Next, describe why these ecosystems are already being integrated by big banks. Why laws are subtly changing to allow for settlements based on distributed ledgers. Why all of the major financial institutions implemented ISO 2022. And why these four tokens are either natively created for it or compliant with it from the start. This is no longer a roadmap, promise, or conjecture. Real transactions are being processed by this operational infrastructure. Let's focus on XRP right now, the liquidity engine propelling the evolution of global settlement. XRP is not just another token with a lot of movement. It was especially designed to serve as the foundation for managing global liquidity. In order to enable cross-border transactions, financial institutions have to lock up trillions of dollars in overseas accounts under the outdated Nostro Vostro banking system. That represents enormous sums of capital that are imprisoned and awaiting release. The key here is Ripple's on-demand liquidity solution. It makes use of XRP as a bridge currency, which allows for almost immediate settlement between several countries. No more pre-funding requirements, no more correspondent banking hassles, and no more exposure to unstable foreign exchange windows. Let's focus on XRP, the powerhouse of liquidity, propelling the transformation of global settlement. XRP is not just another token with a lot of movement. It was especially designed to serve as the foundation for managing global liquidity. In order to promote cross-border transactions, financial institutions must lock up trillions of dollars in overseas accounts under the outdated Nostro Vostro banking system. That represents enormous sums of capital that are imprisoned and awaiting release. The key here is Ripple's on-demand liquidity solution. It makes use of XRP as a bridge currency to facilitate almost immediate settlement between several jurisdictions. No more pre-funding requirements, no more correspondent banking hassles, and no more exposure to unstable foreign exchange windows. By 2025, ODL will have operations in over 70 nations, and that network continues to grow. The post-lawsuit regulatory clarity in the United States removed a fundamental institutional impediment. Banks who were previously waiting on the sidelines are now actively testing, piloting, and in many cases already executing transactions with XRP. One of the world's most advanced real-time liquidity networks has been built by Ripple. Let's discuss specific names and collaborations. Bank of America isn't just watching from the sidelines. They own 83 patents relating to Ripple and use XRP for internal transactions. One of the biggest banks in Europe, Santander, has integrated Ripple technology into their OnePay FX system. XRP serves as the bridge asset for real-time transaction processing at Triango, Ripple's entry point into Southeast Asia. Novati, an Electronic Australia's leading payments company, runs the Ripple corridors that link to Southeast Asia and other regions. The biggest bank in Qatar, QNB, is working with Ripple to develop remittance corridors that will reach Asian markets. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. Ripple processes more than $70 billion in volume through its collaborations with more than 300 institutional clients globally. This is where the narrative becomes even more significant, though. Digital currencies issued by central banks. Ripple offers more than just liquidity options. They are building the fundamental framework for digital currencies that are sovereign. Ripple's CBDC platform is being used by governments in Palau, Bhutan, and Montenegro to test and implement their national digital currencies. These pilots aren't theoretical. They are authentic. Global implementations that benefit real people. Consider the ramifications. Tokenized programmable currencies are being operated for national governments by a commercial enterprise. Additionally, the XRP ledger architecture powers all of this infrastructure. The number of institutional clients for Ripple increased by 300% in 2024 alone. This basic fact is something that the majority of XRP holders are unaware of. Retail adoption was never the main goal of Ripple's approach. It is institution-driven from the ground up, enterprise first, and consistent with regulations. This implies that there won't be any noise or public noise when the switch flips. When a large bank or group of banks switches overnight from legacy payment corridors to ODL rails, it will show up as an abrupt migration of liquidity. Although you won't be able to predict it beforehand, it will position yourself too late. Sophisticated money is already taking positions for this reason, because XRP changes the entire plumbing of global value transfer when it activates at the institutional level, not simply the price. Let's now examine Stellar Lumens, the secret financial inclusion advocate. Stellar specializes on making payments that are quick, inexpensive, and legal to anyone, wherever in the world. However, XLM's true potency lies in the fact that it can achieve